Give me this. Give me that. Give me this.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you are on the globe. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 5 of PocaTV Live. I'm in a really good mood today because for some reason, after 73 months of really strong winds and about 19 months of rain and sleet and snow, it's a sunny day in the Netherlands. And it's even not very cold. So I really don't know what to do. I'm quite confused by the whole thing, but let's just be happy with the things that we have. So once again, welcome to this 5th edition of PocaTV Live. My name is Poca. I know you know by now, so I don't need to explain the whole people of common attitude thing anymore. You are regulars, I hope. I hope you are. So today, I have another fantastic guest. I talk to my friends across the globe who do really wonderful stuff to make this a better world for all of us to live in. And in the meantime, it's also an ongoing tribute to my youngest sister, Aisha, who passed away 10 years ago and who had this vision for PocaTV Live that is manifesting right now. So thank you, Aisha. And this picture was taken, I think, by herself, but Aisha really, really loved a photo session. In fact, she helped out, I don't know how many photographers who were practicing to make portraits, and then she'd go to their studios and have this whole afternoon of photos taken of her, which left us with quite a lovely collection of pictures of her. So Aisha, wherever you are now watching, I'm sure from the great assembly in the skies, this one is for you. I start every PocaTV Live edition with a short recap of the guest I had the month before, because as you know, I do these live programs once a month on the last Friday of that month. And the last Friday of April, I had a very special guest from the Netherlands, Sylvana Simons, who is causing quite a stir in Dutch Parliament ever since she joined this past March. And here's one of the many things she had to say about politics and about the Netherlands.
I addressed something that is not to be addressed in this country, and that is racism.
Right.
It is not to be addressed. It does not exist. If you went to school here like I did, then you will know that we are being taught a self-image that says we're the most tolerant, most loving, most progressive, basically the best country in the world, and this is how we grow up.
So that was Sylvana Simons last month in PocaTV Live, talking about the many things that she's had to endure once she started talking about racism in this country. But she's not one to be easily scared, so she is now in Parliament. Nobody knows exactly how she got that seat, but she got it, and we are quite happy with that. So today, first, let me just see in the chat if there are people already watching us. Yes, I can see my great friend, DJ Conscious, is with us. Hi there, Adam in Jamaica. Adam, as you know, is a Brit who left the UK before the Brexit. And to be honest, he's not the only Brit I know who has vacated the country. In fact, my guest today is one of those as well. He didn't go to Jamaica. He left the UK for Taiwan, where he has been building a life and a career for himself. So it's great to have him with me tonight, today, this afternoon, whatever. Here is Anthony Carlisle. Hi there, Anthony.
Hello, Aldith, or Poca.
Hi.
It's great on this channel.
Well, I'm known by many names. I'm so many people rolled into one, Anthony. I'm sure you remember.
Yes, I do.
You
I
do. You do.
I do.
We'll get into how we know each other in a little bit. First of all, let me thank you for being here today, because it's the middle of the night in Taiwan right now, and you are up and you are my guest. Thank you.
It's absolutely, the pleasure is absolutely mine, and thank you very much for inviting me, and hello to all of your loyal viewers.
So charming, so charming. Let's start with some current affairs first, Anthony, because I've been naming Taiwan as one of the great examples on how to deal with COVID. So can you update me?
Well, it all went wrong, I'm afraid.
Oh.
We were this close to the finish line, and then tripped over, dropped the ball, like a running back in American football. Ball hit the helmet, bounced off. Yeah, so now the situation is not so good. We're in semi-lockdown. There are about 300 or 400 cases every day. Today there were a lot of deaths, 19 deaths. It's still minimal compared to other countries like India or Brazil.
Compared to the Netherlands, even the Netherlands.
So in the UK they have 2,000 cases a day, and they're opening up. So it's a different situation, but it's quite worrying because the numbers are not going down; they're staying quite level.
So what happened? What went wrong?
What went wrong? Well, I think Taiwan was never as brilliant as everyone made out us to be last year. There was a lot of good luck or the grace of God that helped us. There were a lot of mistakes were made, but somehow it didn't break out into community spreading. But this year, it seems like our luck has run out. And
because I do remember, maybe last summer or so, there were 6 deaths in Taiwan. I was saying, let's be like Taiwan. Let's be like Taiwan. Yeah. But you opened up fairly quickly, I remember.
Yeah, I think you should still be like Taiwan. I mean, we still have good policies, and there's good compliance with the people here. So they're doing very aggressive tracking and tracing. The vaccine rollout has been slow due to some political problems and maybe some sluggish buying from the government, but that's picking up now. And so I think Taiwan is still a good example. So I think the truth lies somewhere in between. We weren't quite as brilliant as everyone said we were last year. There was a lot of good luck, and now things. The virus is spreading here. We're not as bad as people are saying.
Okay, but are people complying with the regulations? Though,
like I'm speaking for Taiwan. But.
Yeah, we understand. Are people complying with the regulations though? Because that seems to be a problem in many Western countries. That the regulations are. I mean, nobody likes them, but there's no reason not to follow them, I would say.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, people are pretty good here. There's there's a culture of wearing masks. Even if you get a cold, you put a mask on, and so people are generally following the guidelines. So we're kind of in a gray area now. We're not completely locked down, but at the same time, the government is saying, well, this is pretty much like a lockdown. You should behave like everyone's got the virus around you. So people are a bit confused about still adjusting to how they should behave now.
Well, fingers crossed, really, because I know I was in Taiwan at the end of 2019. In fact, it was the last, my last voyage outside of Jamaica. I never call Jamaica as a voyage because it's part of my life, but it was my last trip outside of the Netherlands before this whole thing happened. And I remember posting a picture of myself with a mask at the time, and the people in Holland were really laughing their heads off at that picture. So now I'm telling them who's laughing now. But anyway, never mind. We'll get into that later. But I'm sure you've watched 1 or 2 of these shows, or at least part of them. So this is all about you, Anthony. And we're going to delve way into the past. So let's start with little Anthony. That's you and your mom, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm the one on the right.
On the right, yes, the baby on the arm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the one on the left with my younger brother in the bouncy pram thing.
Yes. So where was this? When was this? What kind of person were you then?
Yeah, like you say, it was a long, long time ago. What kind of person was I? I don't know. I think I was a pretty cute baby. I was the oldest, and I was born in Essex.
Essex in England.
Yes, in England. Yeah, Essex is known for being kind of like low class culture. Although my mother was very high class, still is.
Yes.
And my father came from a very working class background. My mother came from an upper middle class background. So it was had that mix of two different classes, a very big issue in the UK. So I had that mix of different classes.
What did you feel of that when you were growing up? Did you actually notice, or did you know that this was going on?
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah. How we'd feel when we go back. Oh, I remember once one of my cousins on my dad's side told me we went back to see my nan and grandpa in London, and they were from the very working class background. And one of my cousins was saying to me, I think I was playing a game of cards by myself, like solitaire, and he was saying, "You're a nutter. You're a nutter. You're a nutter, aren't you? You're a nutter."
And a nutter being?
A nutter is a very London way of saying you're crazy. You're a nutter.
Okay, right.
You're a nut.
And why did this person think you were crazy?
Well, he was just joking with me, like because I was doing something silly.
Okay, so it had nothing to do with your background at the time.
No. He was just trying to like make friends with me.
Right.
And I turned to my he was, I'll say he's a cousin. He was much older than me.
Yes.
So it was almost like an uncle. But I turned around to my mother and I said, "Mummy, what's a nutter?" And he was like, "Oh, you posh," and then a very rude word. So it was. So you could see there was a gap there. And my father was very much. He kind of like turned his back when he got married to my mother. He turned his back on his working class roots in his family, which I think was
really
a shame. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That must have been hard, though.
Yeah, it was. But that's what he wanted to do. It was hard on them, I think. Well, they told me it was hard on them, so I know it was.
I see. There's more pictures of you. This is you and your brother, slightly older.
Yeah.
Great pals, from what I gather.
Yeah, I guess so. We're very different now. He has hair like you. He has these great dreadlocks.
Oh, that must be a really interesting fellow.
Yes, he is. Yeah, we're very different. He kind of took the alternative lifestyle, kind of hippie-ish protest movement, and then became a roadie. So it's been tough for him recently with the lockdown. No
work.
No.
Exactly. So we're seeing the both of you in front of a couple of giraffes. What is that?
Yeah, I think that's Longleat. It's like a safari park in the UK. So we went there and bought giraffes.
I thought this was Kenya. I don't know why.
No.
I thought you were going to come up with a great story about Kenya and you walking amongst giraffes. No such thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
It's all right.
We went to Kenya and we killed a couple of lions and then got chased by an elephant. Just managed to escape by the skin of our teeth.
And then this monkey jumped on your back.
And then this monkey jumped on my back. Yeah, again, I'm the one on the left.
Yes, in case we didn't know. Yeah. So to me, these pictures look like a happy childhood. Was it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What can you remember from those days?
I remember bullying my brother. I remember going on camping trips with my family to Europe. I remember my sister being annoying and then funny as well. And I remember I was quite more into sport than my brother. I always wanted to get my brother to play cricket with me or football, but he wasn't into that. He's that he's a peaceful guy even back then. Yeah.
It turns out things never change, do they? And were you any good at school? I think you must have been. if I judge by the career you've had so far, were you this bright guy?
Yeah, I was very lazy, procrastinated a lot. But I was bright when the exams came around. I was bright enough to scrape through. I wasn't as smart as my brother, but we were both smarter than our sister.
Oh, really? Or is this
So we
just a
did okay.
misogynist thing?
No. Well, she was very street smart. She went into the army, and career-wise, she was the most successful. I mean, she had bought a house in London and end up working as the PA to the top guy in NATO. So she was very successful career-wise.
You can't be very thick and reach that kind of stage in life, can you?
No, I'm talking about academic.
Academic.
Good at school.
Right. Okay, so maybe so. Okay, quick look in the comment section.
You're pulling me up on being misogynistic. No, I wasn't. I was definitely not being misogynistic at all.
I know you will set
but
this
you're
right.
right to do that. You're right to pull me up.
Yes, I have to. I'm a woman, so I really do have to do this.
I understand.
Quick look in the comment section. DJ Conscious is saying, "Yay, same one." He's saying, "Let's see, where is he?"
So we have one viewer. Is that?
No. We have more. He's saying from a fellow Brit living outside the UK.
Hi there.
Yes, and here's Adrienne saying hello to Mr. Carlisle. She's very well brought up. Yes, and Kabu, my great friend in Jamaica, watching us, waiting to get on a plane to Nigeria. That's a long story. She will fill us in soon, and wonderful. And here's somebody that probably knows you. Oh, this must be Ingrid. Hi, Ingrid. Ingrid,
yes. Hi, Ingrid.
Lovely. She warned me that she would be watching. Ingrid is one of your former colleagues in Taiwan. And here is Maria finally saying special hi to Poca and special guest Anthony Carlisle. Keep them coming, people. We love those comments. Moving on slightly in your life. This is you slightly older.
Oh, God. Oh.
Who are you with?
I always seem to be on the left.
Yes. That's something we need to discuss.
Yes. Yeah, I guess so.
Where is this? Who are we seeing with you?
This is a guy called Sasha. He's a Russian. We were both teaching in China. And he came from around Lake Baikal, which is this landlocked lake in the middle of Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in China to teach Russian, and I was there to teach English. But of course, his English was better than mine, so he always used to taunt me about how I knew nothing about grammar and couldn't spell.
But what did the Russians know, right?
Well, they know quite a lot. Well, he certainly knew quite a lot.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. So I guess Go ahead.
Yeah. So the story behind this picture is because he lived in the middle of Russia and never been to the sea before. When he came to China and then we went to the coast, he wanted to swim in the sea. But this was in April, I think. So it was really cold. And he said, Anthony, we're going to swim in the sea and you will swim with me. I said, no, I'm not going to swim in the sea. It's too cold. No. You British are so weak. So pathetic. And so
did he go in though?
So I got through my chauvinistic feelings came to the fore, and I said, all right, I'll go and swim. So I went to swim, and it was really painful. And we took this photograph after we swam.
Well, you both are
it was cold. It was so cold.
Even looking at it with this story in mind, I'm feeling cold. So in my book, you are both heroes.
Well, he was having a good time. I looked like a shrimp. I came out and I was quite red.
I guess I misplaced it in your timeline because this is still England, what we're seeing now, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, this is just before I went to China on the right. So I was working in a potato factory in Essex to make some money to go to China. So
Why
I was driving
China?
a forklift truck.
Why China? Mm-hmm.
Well, my grandfather, or actually my step grandfather, he was an expert on modern history, modern Chinese history. He was kind of an old communist, so he would. He'd never been to China. He wanted to go, but the Cultural Revolution broke out just before he was planning to go, so he didn't make it. But he still had these ideas about how wonderful the Chinese society was, and everyone's equal, and education for all, and so on and so on. So he'd tell me about China and how great it was.
And there you were in the potato factory, so that must have sounded great to you.
Well, it was kind of around the other way. I was in university when he was telling me about these, and he died when I was in the second year of university. And then when I was in the third year, my teacher said, "What do you want to do when you graduate?" I said, "I don't know, but I'd quite like to go abroad." And he said, "Well, would you like to go to China? We have this program where we work with a Chinese university. We do an exchange of teachers there. So you can go there if you want." And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." And so then after I graduated, I needed to make some money to get my air ticket. So I worked at this potato factory for a couple of months and then shot off to China.
This was what? How old were you when this happened?
I was just out of college. So it was, I must have been 22, 21, 22. Yeah.
So this is you taking the big leap, going to a place you'd never been before, that you hardly knew, especially in those days. What did we know about China? So how did China strike you when you got there? And
well, I thought I went through the classic phases of culture shock. So when I first got there, I thought everything was fantastic and this was the greatest place on earth. It was just amazing. Wow, look at this. You go to the post office, the stamps don't have any glue on them. You have to put the glue on the stamp yourself, and then this is just amazing, and this is incredible. And wow, you eat with these chopsticks, and it's amazing language. And then the second phase was like, oh, this place is terrible. These people don't know what they're doing. They're all illogical. They can't think properly. Why can't they do it properly like we do it back at home? And then gradually kind of evened out, and so I could tell what was good about the place and what was not so good about the place.
Right, and you stuck around for a while there, didn't you? Though in China.
Yeah, I was in China for 2 years. So I came at a very interesting time. I went there in 1989, which was the year of the Tiananmen Square massacre. So that kind of made me fall in love with the place forever. So I could, yeah. When you see something like that happen, and you can see the people who given such hope, and they can see we're going to change the country and we're going to make it a better place, and then to see their dreams crushed and to go through that journey with them, it's that has a big impact on you.
I can only imagine, really.
Yeah.
But you did leave China at some point. You crossed the pond to Taiwan.
To Taiwan, yes.
That naughty island that wants to be independent from China, and Mama China says no.
I know. Very naughty. Yeah.
Yeah. What made you go to Taiwan
before I came here? But of course, after being in China for 2 years, I knew more about it. But after in 1990, my father suddenly passed away, and I found that I didn't have enough money to go back to the UK. So that was another awakening for me. I thought, well, it's nice to be here in the grassroots of China and this developing country, but I also need to make a little bit of money in case something happens back at home and I need to get back. So I thought, where can I go where I can continue learning Chinese and being in this culture, but at the same time making some more money? So Taiwan seemed to be a good option. So
and
to Taiwan.
To do what? To make some money? How?
Well, the same as I was doing in China. I was teaching English, but in schools
English,
in
yes.
China. And friends said, well, you can do the same in Taiwan, and you can teach privately and then perhaps get a job in a school and establish yourself there. And you can also enroll in a Chinese class. So that's what I did.
Yes, and I suppose the pay was slightly better in Taiwan than it was in mainland China.
Yeah, at that time it's probably about the same now. Or I came
Mhm.
just as the Taiwanese economy was starting to slow down, the Chinese economy was getting ready to take off. I decided to go the other way.
Yes, well, you make choices in life, and they're not always what you expect them to be, right?
No, I think I made the right choice though.
You did, yes, because you did meet your wife. I suppose that must have made you happy.
Yeah, we've got a picture. Oh yes, you have got a picture. Yeah. Oh, okay. So when I'm with my wife, I'm standing on the right.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, very
Yeah,
interesting.
okay.
So you met. She's Taiwanese. I seem to
Yes.
remember. So you met her in Taiwan.
Yeah.
You care to share how you met?
Yeah, sure. We met at a cram school in Taiwan. Cram schools are places where students cram up there after school finishes. Of course, you can never finish learning. So after school finishes, you get out of school and then you go to a cram school and you continue to get the knowledge crammed into you. So I was working in one of these, and my wife was working there too. She was behind the desk in reception. I was a teacher, and we just hit it off. And started dating, and then I realized that I'd fallen in love, and I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. And so I decided to stay in Taiwan.
And she agreed, which is a miracle.
Well, I wouldn't call it a miracle,
No,
Albith. I think,
no.
as you can see from the photographic evidence, I wasn't that bad looking back then.
No, you're an absolute winner there, and I'm sure you had all the women chasing you. So
No, unfortunately not. But yeah.
no, but the two of you have a son. You mentioned him earlier. How old is he now?
He just opened the door and saw what was going on and disappeared back again.
Oh,
he's 15 now.
Oh, he's that
He's
age,
in the
right?
First year of high school.
Must be fun having this multi-culti family. How does that work in Taiwan? Does that make big waves, or doesn't it at all?
Yeah, I think I have a daughter as well.
Oh, you do?
Too. Yeah. So my daughter's 20. She's in the UK now. I think it was tougher for her being from mixed race, because people would look at her and because she looks very Western, they would think, oh, you're Westerner, or you speak English, or which she did, but Chinese was still her first language.
Right.
And so then she kind of got, it was harder. It was tougher for her. But my son, it seems to take it a bit better. It seems to brush off him like a water off a duck's back.
Yeah. I have no idea why that difference would be. It must be just the characters. Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Kabu said she would love to visit Taiwan. Yes, you would, Kabu. I have 3 homes in the world, Kabu. The Netherlands, not by choice, but by fact. Jamaica, as you know, and Taiwan would definitely be my third option. So maybe we should travel there. Oh, yes, I love Taiwan. I really did love it.
You must come back.
I do so very much wish to come back, and I will one day. I will. So here you are suddenly. I'm not sure if I got the right order for the pictures. Is this Taiwan we're seeing here?
No, this is China.
This is China. So this is what you were doing when you were there. Sorry about this, peeps. I should have probably checked it with Anthony beforehand. This is you doing what in China?
This is me with some of my students. That was in my flat, I think, in China. And then with the teachers in China as well.
Right.
So you can see the afro hair there.
Yes. Well, there's still some left.
1990. Yeah.
And you never considered dreadlocks like your brother did?
No, I'm balding, so they wouldn't work very well.
You know what?
But
it would have stopped the balding, but that's a whole different story.
Really?
Yeah. I know people who were balding and they have head full of dreads now.
Wow.
It's too late now, though. It's too late.
It's too late now.
We'll take you as you are, Anthony. I mean, you can't have it all in life, really. You can't.
No. I'm not complaining. I'm happy. I'm happy as I am.
Good. This is Taiwan. I know. So
yes.
This is you. Where? This is Garden of Hope, I'm thinking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's just do a very quick run, because when you got to Taiwan, you did a whole lot of different jobs. I saw some translator work, some teaching work, some consultancy, etc., etc. How did that go quickly before you got to Garden of Hope?
How did that go? I met my wife, decided that I wanted to stay. I was I had a mathematics degree from university, and that wasn't very useful teaching English in Taiwan. So I went back, got a master's degree in teaching English, came back, got a proper job at a proper school, and then got bored of that, had an argument with my supervisor and quit, and then thought, well, what am I going to do now? Mm-hmm. And then a friend of mine at the school said, why don't you work for an NGO? So then I started doing that, and been working with the NGO sector basically ever since. And that took me to the Garden of Hope. So I knew G, my last boss at the Garden of Hope, the CEO of the Garden of Hope, way back, way before I started working there, because this is a very small field. Yeah,
we're going to talk plenty about the Garden of Hope, but to me this sounds as if your life just flows, Anthony, from one thing into the other. Is that the way you feel yourself?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
So that makes you a lucky man, I should think.
I think so. Yeah, somebody asked me recently what my career plan was, and I thought, well, career plan? I don't know. It just seemed, I mean, yeah. I feel on the one hand, I seem to bounce around like a bumper car, just going from one thing to another. But on the other hand, I've tried to do things that good for Taiwan and good for society. You know, you can try and do meaningful work and useful jobs.
Yeah.
So that's perhaps one thing that's been my compass.
So where does this compass find its origins? What guides you yourself in life?
Well, I was like my grandfather or step-grandfather. I was always a bit of a socialist when I was younger. So wanted to change the world and make it a better place. Down with the Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. But and now it's just more general, like try to do whatever you can within, rather than making a revolution, and try and do what you can within the system to make it fairer and better and kinder and nicer place to live.
So there's still a little bit of a leftist rascal hiding within you someplace?
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah, okay. Now I'm asking because you were rather deprecating about your brother being this world changer. No, I wasn't deprecating. I don't think. Was I? Okay.
Sorry if I was, Colin. Sorry.
Yeah, Colin. I'm sticking up for Colin here because you were slightly deprecating.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, then I apologize. That was entirely my fault. No,
okay.
I'm not criticizing his lifestyle. I was just saying that he's taken a very different path to me.
I'm struggling to find out how it's so very different. If this is still what guides you through life. How?
Well, yeah, I guess if you put it like that, then we're similar. We have similar aims, I guess, but we do it in very different ways.
So he's more the activist and you're the one who tries to change stuff from within.
Ooh, that's a very good insight. Yes, I think that's very
and nobody's even paying me for this. Can you imagine?
You do this for free?
I do this for free.
I thought you were getting the big bucks.
No. I actually pay to do this. But it will come in some other way. I have to be certain of that. You put
I'm
out
sure
something
you
in
have.
the
This
world.
is all part of your plan for world domination. So I'm
Definitely,
sure
you got me there. You got
it's
me
gonna-
there. Yeah,
you're gonna cash in sometime.
I have to. I mean, what else would be the point? But never mind. Anthony, we're going to talk about how we got to be acquainted in just a little bit. This is a cliffhanger. But there is this segment in the program that every guest absolutely hates, and I just love it. It's called On the
What?
Spot.
I didn't know about this.
No, you didn't. That means you never watched an entire show. It's called On the Spot, and I ask you, I ask you 5 horrible questions, and you have no right to elaborate. You have to choose one of the options I give you. And at the end of those 5, you can choose 2 on which you would like to elaborate. Are you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah? Okay.
Hit me.
Sit tight. Question number 1. Knife and fork or chopsticks? Which do you choose?
Depends what I'm eating.
No.
Oh, I
no
can't choose. Sorry.
elaboration.
Chopsticks.
Okay. East or west?
East.
The West thinks too highly of itself. Yes or no?
No.
Taiwan is better off without China. Yes or no?
Oh, yes, of course.
What is the one thing, Anthony Carlisle, that you would never, ever, ever do again?
This interview?
Okay. Touche is what they say, don't they? Okay, I take it. So of these 5 questions, which 2 would you like to elaborate a bit on?
Which 2 would I like to elaborate on? I can't remember them now. Chopsticks?
Knife and fork or chopsticks, East or West? The West thinks too highly of itself. Taiwan is better off without China. Which 2?
Chopsticks and
knife and
East or
chopsticks.
West.
Okay, go ahead. What do you want to tell us about knife and fork versus chopsticks?
Yeah, I think chopsticks are very peaceful things. Knife and fork are their weapons, really, when you look at it. The things for stabbing people, like cutting, stab and cut. But with chopsticks, it's much more peaceful, and you've got to be patient, and the food has to be chopped up for you beforehand. But then when you eat it, it's just like it's a skill. You gotta sometimes you gotta even the Taiwanese or Chinese find it difficult, or Japanese, or every Koreans who use chopsticks, they find it difficult to pick up some things with chopsticks. So it can be challenging. So it's I think it makes you appreciate your food more.
Because you don't gobble up your food with your chopsticks, do you?
You don't attack
you
it with these weapons. You
can still use chopsticks to poke out somebody's eye, though. That wouldn't be so peaceful.
I'd never thought of that before, and I'm kind of worried that you would think of that.
This is my sordid mind at work.
Yeah, I guess you could do that.
I prefer your
eyes with chopsticks, stab them in the temple with a fork, and then slit their throat with a knife.
I'm a vegetarian. Let's not cut up meat. Okay, so you've told us about chopsticks. Now, East or West? What is it? What is it you'd like to elaborate on?
Like I said, I was kind of a Marxist, or I didn't say I was a Marxist, but I was. Okay, I admit it. I was a socialist, and so I would think, the West is all bad, imperialist, and terrible. But having lived in Asia for a long time, I think, there are certain things about the West that are not so bad, like things like democracy, freedom of speech, and rule of law, fairness, Christian values. These things are not so bad. And
do you believe that the West truly knows democracy?
No, of course not. But I think it's not often. I think the West often depreciates itself a bit. Certainly, the UK, they would say, "Oh, we don't. We're terrible. We're awful. Do terrible things." But having, like I said, having lived here for so long, you think, well, actually, there's quite a lot of good, and I'm quite glad that the US is still. Well, I couldn't imagine myself saying this 30 years ago, but I'm quite glad the US is still the main superpower rather than China, put it like that. I think this is quite a good thing. Generally, the US exerts a positive. Of course, they do lots of bad things as well, but I think generally Western values, but in themselves, the values in themselves are pretty good. And,
okay, so elaborate on two values that you really appreciate in the West that you can't find in the East.
Well, I'm not saying you can't find them here, but I think that they're things that the West can be proud of, and that a lot of countries can learn from. So things like fair and open elections, like we've seen in Myanmar or China, of course, has never had a fair and open election, or other Hong Kong now, where democracy is being suppressed. I mean, if you look to countries in the West, you say, oh, well, okay, at least we can decide who our leaders are to some extent. The second thing would be freedom of expression. I think freedom of speech. I think this is a very valuable thing, something that take for granted often in the West, but it's something that many people don't enjoy in the world.
Yeah, but Anthony, have you been following the news lately? Because to me, the West is first of all moving very swiftly to the right, even the far right. The stuff you are telling us now, for some people, really does not exist in the West. Do you hear any of that where you are living now?
Oh yeah, for sure.
All these right-wing politicians getting huge amounts of votes. Is that something that troubles you in any way?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I'm not saying this is black and white, but your question was something like, does the West think too highly of itself? And I said no. I would say it was the opposite. I think that often the West, like you're doing now, you're saying you're pointing out the areas where the West is not meeting the standards that it should, and that's true, and we should point that out. But I think often there's also a lot of good that the West has, and I think that often the West can be a little bit verges on the self depreciation a bit too much.
Interesting.
And there's a lot that you can be proud of. I'm saying you as the
West, we are the West,
as a representative of Western Europe.
Thank you. I can now die in peace. It's interesting. It's interesting that you should say that, because actually, personally, I'm rather alarmed at the way things are going in the West. But
me too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think at least you can have the conversation about that. And at least you can say I'm alarmed about that. And like with the Ryanair
kidnapping
that was kidnapped. Yeah, it's just disgraceful. But you can say these things. I mean, you can. There are sanctions and there are consequences. But if you look at many other countries in the world, the regimes do them without any consequences,
and people just disappear.
They just roll over. And they just roll over all these things. At least in the West, you have that kind of recourse to rule of law and human rights and freedom of speech, and at least you have those as standards. And you have those, and those are good things. And these are things that many other countries look at with envy and with a lot of ambition. That's something that they would like to work towards. And so I think it's something that of course, you also have to say there are also lots of problems and lots of disenfranchisement and lots of institutionalized racism and so on and so on. All that goes on, and that's very, very true. But at least you can have that kind of conversation, and you can push back against those kind of things.
That's a valid point. I know that Taiwan has this ambition to be more or less Western in the East. Did I correctly get that when I was there?
No. Well, maybe.
Well, it tries to be an open society. It's taken on board issues that in the West are quite normal now, but in the East are probably still problematic, like gay rights, like stuff like that. I know that Taiwan is focused on those things in a way that they are. That's why I'm saying trying to be open in a Western way while still being Eastern.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, I think this is something. So you can look at that. Well, Taiwan is picking up on these things like democracy and freedom of speech and gay rights and other freedoms and liberties. And those things they're learning from the West. Well, so you can see that there are some positive things that are coming in. But Taiwan also has a lot of influence from Japan. Japan was the colonial ruler here. So that's a big influence here as well. So that's a big part of the culture. So yeah, I wouldn't say they were leaning towards I guess so. Yeah, towards the West,
towards Western values.
Japan.
I hear
sure.
you. And that is actually one of the reasons I'm trying to make this bridge why I got to go to.
Is there a segue
Taiwan.
coming?
Yes, there is. We're going to talk now about how you and I met, Anthony, and it's with great pride and joy that I say that I was invited over to Taiwan to moderate a week conference there on women's shelters, which is to me a very, very valid topic, and great to see that Taiwan took it up. So that brought me there, and this is top right is our little meeting at the Garden of Hope when we first met. This was November 2019. Poca traveling to Taiwan all by her lonesome to be a moderator in Taiwan. Yeah, that was fun, Anthony.
It was fun, wasn't it?
Oh gosh. And I do remember in the whole of 2019, that's when I first started doing online meetings. That was with you. I mean, a year before the rest of the world was constantly online.
Oh, we were way ahead of the curve.
Weren't we? Yes. So explain to our lovely viewers what it is we did that November.
Lovely viewers. We brought together 1,000 or so women from all over the world to come to Taiwan to talk about women's shelters, but also about the issue of ending violence against women in general.
So this was us in a huge. Let me see what picture is up next. This is us traveling first by bullet train from Taipei in the north to Kaohsiung in the south of the island. And this was a wonderful conference center in Kaohsiung where we did that 4-day conference in the beautiful city of Kaohsiung. So more than 1,000 women of how many countries were there?
There were about maybe Ingrid could tell me. I forget now.
Ingrid, can you send us a little
70 or 80 countries then?
Something like that. Yes, something like that. I did miss Jamaica. We need to work on that. Cabo, if you're still there, we need to work on the women's shelters in Jamaica, as you know. And we need them to be represented at these international conferences.
Absolutely.
Yes. To me, that was a highlight of my life. First of all, like I said, it's the last proper conference I presented before COVID. It was all the way on the other side of the world. And what I absolutely remember from that edition and the edition before that, that was in the Netherlands, is the love among the women, and everybody was everybody's friend. And I have a little clip of how it looked, just for people to know how a huge conference like that, how it looks. Let's have a look here.
Said that you were brilliant as well, hosting this. Hey, there's me.
Yay!
President of Taiwan.
Gee.
I saw Yalitza as well. Korean French. Dances were good, weren't they?
Weren't they? Fantastic. Good afternoon, everybody.
That's the star of the show.
The Garden of Hope Foundation and the Global Network of Women's Shelters. Welcome to Kaohsiung.
Yes! Opening up, ladies and gentlemen, please
Is the
join
vein
us.
in your forehead sticking out there? Or is it?
Raymond, my co-host.
I'm looking to see if the vein is popping out in your forehead.
Me? Oh yes,
You're
that's
stressed.
when I'm having fun or when I'm angry. Either one.
Yes.
Yes. So what a wonderful time. So that was 3
Yeah,
days.
it's fantastic.
3 days of conference and 1 day of what was it, sightseeing or
Yep. So study tours.
study tours, exactly. I never received a proper evaluation afterwards. How did that go?
Yeah, we were going to do some downloading, weren't we?
Yeah.
And, but then
President.
we never, President Tsai, she was fantastic too. Yeah, we never did that.
Yeah. But what do you remember of those 4 days?
Oh, lots of things. I wrote them down in a notepad in my cell phone so I could remind myself, because generally it was pretty painful experience, because it was just so much pressure and stress and so much going on and so much beyond your control, but somehow you had to try and keep it together. I remember one of the speakers asked me, so how's it going? And I said, well, it's a bit like cancer. You look okay on the outside, but on the inside, not so good. But then when I look back at the things on my phone and the list of things that went well, or not the things that didn't go well, I generally feel that it was a fantastic experience to bring all those people from different contexts and different cultures and countries together, but together they could share the same story.
Yeah.
And the story was how there was injustice against women and girls going on around the world, whatever cultural class or ethnic background you came from. And this is something that had to stop. And in that room, you had a feeling, well, we have the energy here, we have the network here that can make a difference.
Yes.
And so that was very empowering. And I think
It was.
the people who came and experienced that took that back with them.
They did, and forged some friendships. I dare say,
Oh,
amongst
sure.
themselves. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's that's the way it goes in these huge things. I mean, first of all, for such a small organization as Garden of Hope to host this and to organize it, that was a huge feat. And things basically went really well. I mean, even if at some point you and I remember that picture.
Very, very well, yes.
This was the president of Taiwan was our very important guest that morning, and she was supposed to come, and then she came earlier, and then she came later, and then she didn't come, and then she came, but she came earlier. And by the time she did arrive, Anthony and I were rather, what shall we call it, Anthony? What were we?
We were at loggerheads. We were about to kill each other.
We didn't, though, which is good. But like I said, excuse me, like I said, I have such fantastic memories of this whole thing, and I feel kind of homesick all the time. But this, yeah, look at it.
I'm glad I didn't kill you.
It didn't. No, this was one of the last things. Look at you dancing on the left again, Anthony, in the group photo. That's you.
Yep.
And this was with the fantastic Eve Ensler.
Yes.
The author of the Vagina Monologues
she's
and of
fantastic,
the great book, The Apology, in which she writes a letter to her father who abused her as a child. This was probably the last thing that we did before we crashed, wasn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
She is, and I need. Do you think if I were to invite her to one of these, that she'd say yes?
Yeah, for sure.
She would, wouldn't she?
Have a go.
I will mail her. Yes, I will try that. That sounds great. Let me see. Where are we in the thingy? Hold on here. I'm trying to figure out where we are in the program.
She was one of your heroes, wasn't she, Eve Ensler?
Definitely. And she gave me her new book, which was out very recently at the time, The Apology.
The Apology. Yeah, and actually, it was written up on from the perspective of her father.
Yes, exactly. That's how it was. Yes, that's
this letter apologizing to her because she never got that apology from her father
because he died.
So yeah, you read it, and it's like, especially as a man reading that book, it really takes you on a journey. And as you're reading this, you think, well, have I ever really? Well, first of all, you think I've probably done a lot of these things without thinking, or through following my own lusts or my own selfish interests. And then you think, well, after I've done them, I've said sorry, but did I really mean it? Did I really apologize in the way that's up to the standard that she writes in this book? And it really takes you on that journey. And it's a short book, but it's a tough read, and it's very biblical in the scope that it takes you on.
I remember reading it on the plane back to the Netherlands after that week, and I was just crying and crying and crying. Stewardess had to come and check on me all the time. I said, "No, it's the book. It's the book." But so what did it teach you anything about your own ways? If you're really honest with yourself, yeah,
for sure. Like I just said, it makes you reflect on things you've done in the past, and it also makes you think about, well, okay, I might have said sorry, but did I really say it in the right way, or was I just trying to make myself feel better about the situation, rather than healing it? And like she says, the final part of an apology is that you'll never do it again. And have I reached that point where I'll never do it again? Well, probably not. And so it's a very high standard, but something that's good to work towards.
Yeah. And would, having read that book, would it help you in the future if you were to what's the word? If you were to admit to yourself that you misbehaved in some kind of way, would it help you to properly apologize and to feel what it is that you did wrong. Because saying sorry is easy if there's no content behind it. I'm sure that's what you mean.
Yeah, well, a strong part of the book is that Eve Ensler really tells her own story of what happened to her through her father. Her father says, "I did this to you, and I know that this made you feel like that, and this made you feel like that." So it really gives it. There's a feeling of empathy there, and it forces you to put yourselves into the victim's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and to see it from their side. Yes.
Yeah.
Kabu says she needs to get that book. Yes, you do, Kabu. It's called The Apology, and it's written by Eve Ensler. Ensler. I will app you with it, and I have the book in Jamaica, and you definitely, every woman, but also every man should read this book.
Absolutely.
It's a fantastic read. A little jump in our little program together. You asked me, and I have no idea why, so you're now going to surprise me. You asked me to share a video of Blackpink is all I know that they're called. And before I started, why did you want us to see this together, Anthony?
I don't know. You asked me to send you a video that meant something to me.
Yeah. So what does it mean to you?
I got into a phase where I really liked Blackpink. Not in a Blackpink are a K-pop band. They're a girl band.
Yes.
So they're like the
Korean, South Korea. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the South Korean version of the Spice Girls or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're all very young. They're not much older than my daughter.
A lot of hair going around.
Yeah. So, but I just love them. Not in an ironic way. I think I have a quite good taste in music. I like to think.
Yeah.
I used to like alternative music a lot, and the Smiths and things like that. So I think, well, I have pretty good taste in music. But I also have a soft spot for pop music.
Right.
And I got into Blackpink last year, which was it was a tough year for me. I had some family tragedies and difficulties at work and things. So this Blackpink kind of took me to a different place. And their songs are really strong, I think.
They're really catchy. Let's really check out this one, and it's called "Don't Know What to Do."
What to do without you. Jenny's my favorite. This is Jenny's singing now.
This one.
But I like to point out that I don't like them in a creepy way at all. I just genuinely like them. This is Lisa. She's from Thailand.
You know all their names. My goodness.
Yeah.
You're a fan.
I'm a Blink. Fans of Blackpink are called Blink. This is Rose. Some people call her Rose.
We're not
born in New Zealand, but grew up in Australia.
Hold on. Let's just watch.
This is Gisu. Gisu is all Korean.
Well. So that's our Blackpink ladies. We weren't quite hearing what you were saying. Please tell us all you know there is to know about Blackpink.
Yeah, well, like we were talking over there while they were singing. I got into Blackpink because I was going through a difficult time. I had a huge family tragedy back in the UK.
Sorry.
And at that time, Blackpink's song Ice Cream with Selena Gomez was on rotation on Radio 1. And my daughter would listen to Radio 1 as the pop music station in the UK. And we went back there to deal with the tragedy. And and then I got back to Taiwan. I had to go into quarantine after coming back from the UK for 2 weeks. And there was a Netflix special on Blackpink called Light Up the Sky. So I watched that and I thought, well, these girls they're interesting and they have interesting backgrounds. Of course, they're manufactured, they're put together, but they went through this arduous training process. And then the songs are just absolute bangers. They're just every song is just a smash hit.
But they don't write their music, do they? Do they?
Rose writes a bit. The main writer is this guy called
Stock Aitken and Waterman.
Yeah, he's like that. He's like that. He's called Park is his surname. I can't remember his name now. But there's one guy who basically wrote all their hits, and he's just amazing. So how can he write these smashes?
Is that the Gangnam Style guy?
No, but they're part of the same franchise.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. But K-pop is huge. It's very danceable. It's very cheerful. Got pretty ladies dancing in voluptuous ways. There's an energy to it.
I hadn't noticed. I hadn't noticed any of that. No, I just
didn't.
listened to the music.
Yes, and what did the music make you feel inside?
Well, it's kind of like bubbly and fizzy. And it's a lot of it's like kind of popcorn or candy floss or something like that, or ice cream, like one of their hits. But it just kind of takes you to a happy place. And the one we just played, I don't know what to do with About You. I think it's a bit deeper, and their songs are, I think, a little stronger than most K-pop songs, and it just transports me to another place, and I can forget about everything and just feel happy and kind of wrapped in this pink blanket.
Lovely. Well, I promise you that
a black pink blanket.
Yes, I promise you the second half of the song when we play out this today. But there's one more item I need to discuss with you, because we were talking about Garden of Hope and all the wonderful stuff that we did together a year ago. And then suddenly I received your email saying that you'd left the Garden of Hope and you are now, fill it in.
And I'm now working at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Of Taiwan?
Of Taiwan, yeah.
So how did that come about?
Working for the government.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Well, my old CEO G, she left the Garden of Hope, and now she's working at the Control UN, which is the UN, the different houses of different bodies of government in Taiwan. So you have the legislative and the judicial and the control and so on, other UNs. And now she's working for them. It's the Ombudsman of Taiwan.
Right.
And so after she left, the new CEO came in, and she had some different ideas about how to take the international department. So I felt it was a time for me to leave. Although I'm still working at the Garden of Hope as an advisor, so in an advisory capacity for them. So that's good. And so I just felt like the new CEO needed some space, and she wants to take the Garden of Hope in a slightly different direction. That's fine. I mean, when new people come, new things happen, and old people sometimes move on. That's just the way life goes, right? Old people. Move on.
I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, foreign people, whatever.
I don't know.
But what does strike me? I mean, so you're
Oh,
still
that's
this Brit.
worse. Former people is worse than old people.
What word would you have me say? Remember, I'm Dutch. It's your language. It's not mine. So what word would you have me use so we can stop this discussion?
I don't know. Old fogies.
Yeah. Old folkies,
Yeah.
the people from the past, whatever,
Right.
whatever. So, but you're still this Brit working for the Taiwanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. To me, that's funny.
Yes.
What is it you do for them?
I do translation, editing, and yeah, that's basically it.
Editing of what? Of letters and
It's like
stuff.
speeches, letters, and documents and other things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it fun?
Yeah. It's very different. The Garden of Hope. It was there were always so many things that you had to do. The work was never ending. Of course, the violence against women is still going on. So, of course, there are always things you can do to try and stop that. At Ministry of Foreign Affairs, often the pace is more focused and more detail orientated. So oriented.
Oriented. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to pay attention to these details. And the Garden of Hope, you just got to get it done and just within the time limit. But at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, every word is very important. Actually, my supervisor is Dutch.
Really?
Yeah, his English is better than mine.
Really?
So he corrects my English.
Oh my
So
goodness.
you were just saying that you were Dutch, and
Yeah.
well, you have no excuse, I'm afraid.
All right. Well, tell them to do a good job because they are representing the Netherlands in Taiwan.
He does a very good job.
Does he?
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't say otherwise now, would you? Because he's watching, I'm sure.
I doubt it.
Yeah. Which does bring me to. I mean, I know you might not be at liberty to discuss, but we did touch on the question of Taiwan is better off without China, yes or no, and you emphatically said yes. Well, what's the situation now? Because I'm reading that China is moving in on Taiwan. What's going on?
Yeah, China is becoming more aggressive and active on the world stage. I think, well, firstly because with Trump, he kind of like backed off from getting involved internationally with global affairs. He said, "Wow, it's just America first." So that was a bit of a vacuum that China was happy to fill. And secondly, also, well, they're literally getting stronger, and they're pretty much the world's superpower, almost on the same level as the US. Perhaps a little bit behind, but getting up there. So they feel very confident. And also with the third thing is with Xi Jinping, who's in charge of China now. Taiwan is kind of like the last thing on his to-do list that he hasn't done yet. He's done everything else.
To take back Taiwan the way Hong Kong went.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So
yes.
he's done Hong Kong. He's done done whatever else he wanted to do. But Taiwan is the thing that he hasn't done. That's the missing thing.
So how does it look for the future? Are you going into war? What's going to happen? By the way, before you answer me, Ingrid has answered us that there were 88 countries at the conference. Thank you for that, Ingrid.
Thanks, Ingrid.
Yes, can always rely on you. So are we to expect some kind of invasion or war? What's going to happen? Because Taiwan doesn't want to go back to China.
Right. Yeah. Maybe Ingrid can help us with that answer. Ingrid?
But what do you think?
What do I think?
Are you not at liberty to discuss?
No. I can talk about it. But it's difficult. I don't have a crystal ball. It's possible, of course. I think we should always be cautious and aware that that's a possibility, and something that we have to take into consideration. On the other hand, I don't think that you should just let China run roughshod over things like I was saying, the valuable things like human rights and freedom of expression and all those other things that we've rule of law and things that we value. So we should take a stand against those, a strong stand against those things, and say things about Hong Kong and say things about Xinjiang and with the Uyghur people, what's happening there. We should speak up about that. But it's a difficult balancing act. Do I think it's gonna happen? Can I imagine like the PLA patrolling the streets outside? I can't imagine that happening. I find that difficult to imagine myself.
But if it were to happen, are the Taiwanese ready to stand up for their independence? They're very peaceful people, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I know. All the projections say it'll be over very soon. I somehow think that Taiwan won't cave in that quickly. I think there'll be a lot of resistance here. I mean, you see the way people will say the same thing about Hong Kong. Oh, Hong Kong, they just care about making money, and they're very materialistic. And when China takes over, they'll just follow along with whatever China does. But that turned out not to be the case at all. So I think that you'll find that there's a lot of resistance in Taiwan, a sort of strong feeling about Taiwan's identity separate from China. And there's a lot of pride in what Taiwan has achieved as well.
Definitely. And so they should. Did I ever mention that the very best fruit I ever ate in the entire world was in Taiwan? Fruit is something completely out of this world there. And it's not Monsanto. It's not genetically modified, because I asked. It's cleverly grafted fruit, which is okay with me. Okay. Or isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
Did they lie to me?
Would they lie to you because they were selling you fruit? Of course not.
I wasn't asking somebody who was selling it to me. I was asking other people, and they were talking anyway. Whatever, it was fantastic fruit, and all of it.
It is very sweet.
It
is very sweet.
Yeah.
Sometimes you were. Is it supposed to be this sweet? And they have this things like they have the guava, which they water with milk, so the guava tastes like milk. Yeah.
Anyway, you can hear from what I'm saying that I did love it there, and I do certainly hope to be there one day, and hope to find you there. We're almost at the end of the program.
I'm not going
Anthony.
anywhere. I'll be here.
You'll be there? Yeah. You got your whole family. You got your life there. What are your upcoming plans? Anything special coming up for you the upcoming weeks to round up this lovely talk?
Anything special coming up? I'll be working from home starting next week. Yay. Finally, Ministry of Foreign Affairs has put it into first gear. Bit of crunching of the gears, but they got it in there. So, and then I'm hoping that the coronavirus situation will be under control again, because it was a great story. Taiwan is doing so well. And
I know.
So I'd like to rescue that narrative. So I just hope that the people in Taiwan can follow the government directives, and the government can lead us in a wise and correct path, and we can get through this and
go back to being the country that the rest of the world was jealous of. Yeah,
I know. Perhaps I feel a bit guilty. I know the numbers we're talking about here in Taiwan are nothing compared to what other countries are suffering.
No, but you have to look at the relative numbers, don't you?
Yeah.
Before I let you go, Cabo wants to know about guava with milk. Please explain to her.
Yeah. So we have this guava here that has been watered with milk. So they give it, instead of watering it, they milk it.
And is it like a smoothie thingy?
No, it's a guava, but then when you cut it open, it's a bit softer than a normal guava. And then when you eat it, it's like Yeah, this is a guava, but it tastes kind of milky and creamy. So it's like a creamy guava.
Oh, okay. So it's the fruit itself that is milky. It's not
Yeah,
that you make a
the
juice
milk.
out of it. I think I know which fruit
I
you know.
guess if you squeezed it, then the milk might
Right.
come out of it. But
So Kabu, it's not a drink you make with guava. That's not the case. That's what
you could do that as well. You could
but
make
it's
a
not.
guava milk if you wanted to.
Yes, you could. Maybe try it. You never know. Put it in a blender and thing. Do not add ginger, Kabu. I know Jamaicans love to add ginger, but I don't think that guava and ginger would work very well. But if it does, let me know. Let me know. Anthony, this is what we have time for today. Before I let you go, let me quickly tell my viewers that next month at the 25th of June, I'm going to do a special edition because I'm actually working that day, and I have a killer month coming up, so I have no time to unpaid work as this is. I have no time to properly organize a guest next month, so it will be me. I will be telling about myself, and everybody can ask me questions, and I promise I'll do my best to answer them. So that will be in June, the 25th. And we're soon going to play out.
Can we ask you the 5 questions?
Yes, you can ask me anything, only if you come live. I do not answer questions in comments. I will answer the questions live in that 1 hour that I'll be sitting here all by my lonesome, showing you some stuff of my own life and taking questions from the audience. Will you be there, Anthony?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'll be there.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Looking forward to that. For now, thank you so very much for joining me today. Did you enjoy any of it?
Did I enjoy any of it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like the curate's egg, yeah, parts of it were excellent.
Parts of it were excellent. Okay, we'll talk later on which parts were not. I think it's time for you to go to bed. What time is it at your? It's after 1. Go to sleep.
It's 1:20. No, I've enjoyed every second of this. Thank you very much for having me, Aldith.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
We must do more of it.
Fantastic show, and yeah, you're doing wonderful work, and it's great.
Thanks
So
so much.
Next week, and we can ask Aldith your 5 questions.
Next month, actually. Next month.
Next
Give me
month.
a break.
Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah,
next month. Okie dokie. Well, that's it for today. Thanks again, Anthony, and to everybody else. There's just a couple of words left to say. Be good. Be nice. Stay well. Bye-bye.
Blue